Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I love the color olive on you.
Yeah, you as well. We're all coordinated today.
I know.
Unplanned.
Plan this
Is that a pun? I love the color olive.
Perfect. Greg, how are you today?
I'm doing
That was a
great.
stretch. I don't know.
It worked, though. It totally
Yeah.
worked. Well, I love having you both in the studio, as you know, because obviously you've been so busy with the radio show, with the television shows, and yet you always make time to come in and do the show. And I know that the viewers appreciate that so much. So I have a really amazing, interesting story today. This is actually from Yahoo Finance. So let's talk about what Yahoo Finance says. The sneaky but smart place that millionaires keep their money. So get that, viewers, sneaky but smart. Millionaires keep their money. By you see, the spots that might be beneficial to me and to the viewers at home. This is kind of a mystery. By the way, they did say that over 20 million millionaires in the U.S. did not inherit their money. Only 20% inherited it. And more than 2/3 of all millionaires are entrepreneurs, which isn't surprising in this great country. Greg and Kristen, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's awesome. And, you know, we call these folks the middle-class millionaires, the
Yeah.
folks that just worked really, really hard. They saved really, really well. They
You
were
would
very
never
disciplined.
know.
Yeah.
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 And just, I think of one of the families that we've been working with for probably 12 or 13 years. And the first time I met him, he came in and he had probably a 20-year-old Cadillac they'd pulled up in front of our office in, a pair of bib overalls, and just worked really smart too.
Yeah, yeah.
And had saved about $3 million. So had done a great, great job. But, you know, remember that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah, I feel like I need to. Is
Yes.
it lifelines you had to call and get?
Yes,
Yes.
phone a
Yeah.
friend.
With Regis Philbin.
And you'd yell at the TV, why would you waste it on that?
Yes.
How do you not know that?
Yeah.
And don't you feel like that's sort of a goal if you start working and you want to start saving into your 401k or into other investment accounts, and you sort of have that goal of at least starting to save towards $1 million.
Absolutely.
Well, and yeah, that's the thing. And outside of sneaky ways, there's kind of common traits of all the millionaires we've worked with over the years, wouldn't you say? So that being disciplined on top of having a goal
Yes.
to stick with it, I think is a common thing. And it also helps you to become successful throughout your retirement years, is
Sure.
having a goal and then being disciplined towards that goal.
Stay the course.
And a common theme of the families, at least we've worked with, that have saved $1 million or more is that they kept learning and they kept growing. They weren't satisfied with where they were. They just kept getting better, and they would learn things and they would put those things into action. And some of the things I've learned over my years, I didn't always practice.
Sure.
You know, I would learn it, and then, you know, that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it.
That's true.
And so that's happened sometimes, but the things that I learned and then I put into practice are things that have made me better overall. And so that's what we want for the families that are watching. The young families, we want to see them be successful over their working years, and the people that are getting close to retirement, we want to maintain to their success. So that's a big key.
So what are some places people put their money that are sneaky?
Places they put their money, right now, a lot of cash and cash equivalents,
Okay.
because people are now able to get some interest.
That's true.
You know, that getting 4% on a money market's not unheard of right now today. Whereas a couple of years ago, that 0.1% was not that enticing. There are things with insurance companies that are very similar looking to CDs. They're not CDs. They're called MYGAs.
Okay.
And then that stands for multi-year guaranteed annuity. And that's where you can get that interest rate that is guaranteed for 3 years, 5 years, and some up to 10 years. And the benefit of that, I think, whereas CDs right now you can get over 5% in a lot of places.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Which is not a
amazing.
bad rate of return right now, that's safe. But I believe that the interest rates on those are going to be somewhat short-lived. In the next couple of years, I think the Fed will start to lower interest rates again to try to spur the economy back and get things rolling. And as that happens, those interest rates that we're getting at the bank, I don't think will stay at the levels they are today.
That's
so
true.
So if you could lock in a rate at today's rates for 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years, that might make some sense. And a lot of millionaires are taking advantage of things like that. Real estate. We've got a lot of folks that we work with that's how they made their millions, is with real estate.
Yeah.
Investment properties, which are always
Yeah.
generating income, which is amazing. And a lot of people can have multiple investment properties, whether it be 6 or 12, and they just keep track of those, and it's steady income that comes in 1 year after the next. So again, the key with that is to work with a really good financial advisor when you're considering using real estate as one of your assets in retirement.
Yeah, and I think another common theme is that the wealthy and the people like you watching today that have done a good job saving throughout the years, you recognize that need to really organize everything. Because I've read studies, and I just saw something recently online about the ultra successful in a lot of cases being very unorganized in a lot of cases, believe it or not, because their thought processes are moving so fast and they're always coming up with new ideas. So they're boom, 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 popping them out. But then having an advisor behind the scenes to help you get everything organized.
Yes.
Because it does start to get overwhelming at some point or another. I think we've gone through 4 things on the list, and you start thinking through. I'm thinking of one of our clients. She's recently passed away, and she was an absolute pro at finding the best interest-bearing accounts and moving money constantly to a point where she had probably 30 accounts.
Wow. Okay.
And to keep all that organized, she was very meticulous about keeping it all organized and knowing exactly where everything was. And shortly before she passed away, I had a long conversation with her, and she's like, I just want to make sure it's all in order for my family because I did so much. And I said, well, you've done a good job, but having that organization behind the scenes, I think, is important as well.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Another place, Cynthia, people are putting their money that are millionaires is stocks or stock funds or index funds. And this is a big one because, we don't have to be afraid of the stock market just because it's volatile. It has to have its place. And I don't believe all our money should be in the stock market.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially as we get to that, 60 and older age frame. Now we need to start thinking about buckets of money, having some in safe places, having some for income, and having some for growth. But millionaires aren't afraid to have money in the stock market. In fact, that's where a lot of them made a big chunk of what they have today. And then private equity, hedge funds, and commodities. Now, these are things that are typically restricted to what we would call an accredited investor, someone who saved $1 million or more, or they have a high level of income. And these things can be beneficial to diversify risk, but they can also be very volatile. So these are places that we've seen the wealthy have money. And then alternative investments in general, there are some short-term alternatives that people can use, whether it's in real estate alternatives or things that are in venture capital or things that are in diversified income-bearing things that are not traditional stocks or bonds. Another way to help diversify risks. And the key here is no matter where we want to put our money, and this is for people that saved $300,000 or $400,000, maybe they haven't saved $1 million yet. Well, you want to start acting successful before you are totally successful. If you want to be like those who have been successful, you have to act the way they act.
That's true.
Right. I mean, because we talked about taking risks, but they also invest wisely. And part of that process is getting good, sound advice from people in the financial field, the estate planning arena, and all those areas that we talk about on the show.
Sure.
So in order to do this, though, you have to have a purpose behind what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So if you want to have money safe and liquid for emergencies and needs and wants, okay, that should be in a liquid bucket. If you want to generate income that's going to last and protect your lifestyle, that needs to be in your income bucket. And if you want growth for the long term to beat inflation, that should be a well-prepared growth bucket.
So all of these things just depends on what someone's goals and dreams would be for retirement. It all comes down to a plan.
It does.
Well, this is the perfect time for us to take a commercial break. To our viewers at home, if you're sitting in the viewing audience today and you're trying to construct what your retirement's going to look like, What Greg and Kristen are offering you today is a wonderful complimentary consultation, a planning review. Let them sit down with you and understand what your goals, your dreams, and your wants are in retirement. As you can see here today, there are different avenues and different buckets that you can utilize to make sure that when your plan is designed, it's the plan that's going to benefit you the most. It's going to be customized and it's going to be tailored to what your needs are. No pun there with Taylor.
Yeah.
We know that retirement is very important to you, as it should be. You've worked your entire life to get to the retirement years, and you deserve to take advantage of this opportunity. Allow Greg and Kristen to go ahead and have that plan constructed for you. Again, the number is 614-336-7660, or if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. You can also visit testmyretirement.com to have some information to see what your retirement currently looks like. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. I have so much more with Greg and Kristen when we return.
Plan smart, retire well. How do you do that? Many times we meet families and they actually think they have a plan.
But what about when you want to upgrade your house? What about when your wife wants to buy new furniture?
No investment decision should be made outside the context of a plan. So what is your plan? We believe in the 3-bucket approach as it comes to your finances. Your liquid bucket, which is what I call the sleep well at night account, for when the what ifs happen in life. Your income bucket, which is there to meet the gap between Social Security, maybe a pension, and what you really want to live in. We believe you should protect that income, then grow the rest. And then your growth bucket. The growth bucket's really focusing on helping you achieve your growth goals. As you transition from your working career to retirement, we want that to be the greatest moment of your life, and we don't want you to fumble the ball.
So imagine, when you're working, you're getting a paycheck. When you're retired, you have to pay yourself. The 3-bucket approach is a really easy way for people to start compartmentalizing what they're doing with their money.
We want you to be successful in any economy. We want you to thrive no matter what's going on. Worry and fear and greed are the biggest problems when it comes to investing. We want to take that off the table, and we want to make sure you have a consistent growth strategy. We want you to be just as successful in your retirement plan as you were in your accumulation plan.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And I would love to talk to you a little bit about a call that actually came in from one of your radio viewers. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and go through this. This was actually one of the radio listeners, I should say. This person works for the government and is retiring at the end of the month, starting a new job within days, making more money. Now, as a couple, they have over $650,000 in both of their 401ks, and she'll be receiving just under $4,000 a month from her pension. Greg, you've been helping people with retirement planning for over 3 decades. Is it unusual for someone to retire from one job and then start a new one, even though they have a pension? Can you be doing both things?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that's not uncommon at all for someone to want to reinvent themselves. Maybe they're just stagnant. And in this person's case, they actually came into the office and they had a twofold purpose. They wanted to be able to save more money. And to do that, having that pension coming in, plus having a job that made more money, that was going to allow them to save the entire pension.
Okay.
So work 2 or 3 more years, save the entire pension, and have more money available to use for their retirement was really the goal here. And being able to do that made sense for this couple. And so when they came in, what was interesting is we started testing things. Well, the discovery visit, Cynthia, we found out, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve. We really uncovered those things. And what we truly uncovered there was on top of the $4,000 a month pension, plus the husband's Social Security he would receive, they were going to need an additional $4,000 a month.
Okay.
So that's an income plan.
Correct. So that was going to be in 2 to 3 years. When she fully retires, we need to be able to generate this $4,000 per month. So that gave us what we would call the gap.
Okay.
So we went back with our team. We found out the least amount of money necessary to accomplish that goal, and we set those dollars aside for that income plan so that they know in 2 or 3 years, when she retires fully, they have that income that will come in and they don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
So we set that down. Then we realized that they were more conservative than they thought on their investment side.
Okay.
They were about a 42 on the risk score between 1 and 99, but their current portfolio was in the 70s.
Oh my, what a difference.
So it was all basically in stock type things, and they just didn't realize that they were taking so much risk. So they decided,
Which isn't uncommon as well.
no, that's not uncommon at all.
We find that quite often when people come in, families come into our office to visit with us. When we start really looking through where they're at, that analysis, it's sometimes sad because they realize that there's so much more risk that could have been, in a lot of cases, really detrimental to their retirement. But it's kind of one of those situations where you think, okay, well, at least we figured it out. Now what are we going to do about it to make a change?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yes, and they knew they had some risk because they had over $800,000 in their portfolio, but when they came in, it was down to about $650,000.
Wow. Okay.
So that's where that market volatility came into play. So with that, they had old wills, old documents. We were able to refer them to an attorney to get their estate documents up to date, get a new durable power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, living will, all those things, what we would call ancillary documents. A plan for long-term care, how they would pay for that, should that happen. And then we talked about the possibility of future taxes. How could that impact their retirement? And we talked about a strategy to convert some of the tax-deferred dollars, which almost all their money was in tax-deferred, get that over to tax-free Roth. So it was a conversation about a lot of different things, and we call those the 5 core areas: your investment plan, your income plan, your tax plan, your healthcare plan, and then whatever's left over, what you leave to the people you love, that's your legacy plan. And so making sure that nothing is slipping through the cracks in those areas, and it's whether someone wants to retire and just be done, which sometimes is the case, or someone like this who wants to retire and reinvent themselves. Sometimes it's for a new purpose.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because they want to save more. Sometimes they just can't imagine not working. I have someone that came in, they were 82 years old and just retiring.
Oh, wow. 82.
82, they loved what they did.
Wow.
And finally, their health was starting to give them some challenges, and they said, it's time. It's time to stop.
Yeah.
One of our clients, she was 76 years old, and finally the company she worked for said, we think it's time for you to retire.
Oh, wow.
So that was heartbreaking for her.
Yes.
It really
she
was.
Her job. Oh, can I still be your host at 82?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
have no plans to retire.
Have you seen those memes with as friends grow old together and then they're
Yes.
high-fiving each other, helping each other with lipstick? That'll be you and I.
That'll be us.
Yeah,
Totally. Well, again, what it comes down to is really having a plan in place. You were able to help this family because you were able to uncover some things that they weren't even aware of. Obviously, taking too much risk, that's a big one. And all of these things are uncovered in the meeting with you.
They are, because it's a 3-step process. It's discovery, it's then, okay, we got to test everything, and then it's putting together a written plan.
Right.
And once you have that written plan, that's confidence. Confidence comes from knowing what's going on, knowing how much risk you have, knowing how you're going to get your income, knowing how you take care of taxes and health care and all those things. And there's no perfect plan, and I can tell you this because we have people that we worked with for over 20 years. Those plans change.
Absolutely, because life changes.
It does.
Well, this is the perfect time for us to take a commercial break. To the viewers at home, the number to call is once again on your screen. That number is 614-336-7660. As you can see by watching today's show, the one thing that you need more than anything else for your retirement is a well-constructed written retirement plan. You need to know that you're going to be okay no matter what twists and turns that life may take, because we know that life happens, things change. You'll need to have that confidence to be prepared that whatever comes your way, you'll be all right. And what Greg and Kristen are offering you today is that complimentary consultation. Let them take a look at what you currently have in place. And as you can see, it's very important to know if you're taking too much risk. The stock market is up and down like a roller coaster. And so sometimes knowing your risk tolerance is the key to a very happy and successful retirement. If you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. And again, as you can see, that well-constructed written retirement plan is the one thing that you need for peace of mind in retirement. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor, but don't go anywhere. I have so much more about retirement planning when we return.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. It's all about retirement, so I just want to say this is Retirement TV.
Yes,
this is
it
what
is
we're doing.
today.
It is, kind of.
It is, really. Well, this is my favorite part of the show because we have a viewer question, and I love to listen to what people are thinking in the audience. So if you don't mind, I'm going to dive right into that. It says, Greg and Kristen, my husband and I have been watching your show for over a year now. We are in our early 60s and we have saved around $1.3 million in our 401ks. We plan to retire in 2 years and will need to plan for some income. Is it too late to consider Roth conversions? Roth conversions. What do you think, Kristen?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, thank you for watching. And bravo, because you've done a really good job of saving for retirement. Mm-hmm. But before you start, of course, we love talking about conversions on the show. Greg loves the Roth. We talk about it all the time, so we get lots of your questions about this. But there's a few things we need to know beforehand. We need to know your income needs in retirement. So we need to know how quickly you're going to need income at the onset of retirement to know that, you know, whether or not you can afford that hit that you're going to take in taxes when you do a conversion. And so we're going to consult with a CPA to figure those numbers out to make sure that it's advantageous to you overall.
Okay.
For sure. And, you know, have you saved enough to support the income you need? That's a big one, you know.
Yeah, that's what I meant there.
For sure. And then what tax bracket will the conversion take place in? So this is a big one because you can make well over $300,000 a year and still be within the 24% tax bracket. I don't mind doing a conversion within the 24% tax bracket, but once you go over that, you jump up to the 32%.
Wow, okay.
Now between federal and state, you're going to be over a third of what you convert, you're going to be giving back in taxes. To me, that's a little hefty.
Absolutely.
So I don't really want people converting at that 32% or higher tax bracket. So, you know, we sometimes have people come in that are higher income earners and some that are even in the 37% tax bracket. I'm not suggesting a conversion at those tax brackets.
Okay.
Especially if they're going to need less income when they retire than what they're earning currently from their jobs. So with that, we may wait a little while before we do a conversion.
Okay.
So that's really, it's not a one size fits all. Can I afford to pay the taxes? That's a big one. And preferably, when someone does a conversion, we like them to pay the taxes from an outside source.
Okay.
So if someone converts $100,000, we would rather have $100,000 in a tax-free account and pay the taxes from the outside. Because if we take the tax out, and let's say we take 24% out, $100,000, that only leaves $76,000 that's tax-free. So if we can pay it from an outside source, that's better, because now we have more money that's tax-free forever. And we've paid our debt to society, we paid our debt to Uncle Sam, and now we have tax-free. And one of the best stories about Roth conversions was one of our clients we've had for several years, came in recently for a review, and we were talking. And several years ago, actually back when the Roth IRA first became available, he had money in his 401k, in an old 401k that he rolled over to an IRA. And when that happened, he went to his advisor, and his advisor said, I don't recommend you convert to a Roth. But he didn't listen. He went ahead and converted it to a Roth. Then he took that money and he started buying, he set up a special trust, which is available within the Roth, a Roth IRA trust, and he started buying real estate within this Roth IRA.
Okay.
And he would buy real estate and he would invest it within his Roth. And today he's bought so many pieces of real estate within his Roth that he now has over $200,000 a year of rental income coming inside his Roth that is 100% tax-free.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
And this is a really smart individual. So obviously, those are things that are outside of the scope of what we do. Those are things he did all on his own, which was, he did an amazing job. But the other areas, he needed help with. He needed help with his estate planning. He needed help with long-term care planning. He needed help with some other things that we do that just weren't available in another source with the people he was working with at the time. And so it's all about, what do I need? And is the person I'm working with the one that can help me accomplish those goals? So whether it's converting to a Roth, whether it's setting up income, all of those things. But Cynthia, one of the best tools we have for families that are really trying to decide Roth or not Roth is our complementary tax map and RMD report. Because people can get that tax map and they can see, okay, here's how much tax we could potentially pay if tax rates stay the same. Here's what we could potentially pay if they go up. Here's what required distributions could look like. We can talk about what the average return might be and look at all those things. But getting that complementary tax map can be so beneficial to people considering going from tax deferred to tax free.
Absolutely, especially when you're thinking about the tax changes that could occur once we have the Trump tax cuts sunset. So again, really valuable information. Greg and Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, are you concerned about what taxes are going to look like in the future? Why not take advantage of getting the tax map and the RMD report? This is completely complimentary, being offered you today by Greg and Kristen Taylor. The number is 614-336-7660. If you have your smartphone, go ahead, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. And thank you for watching Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor. We'll see you next week.